Hi friends, welcome to my home today. I'm glad you could join me. Today I'm going to be making some fresh homemade bread and I'll share my recipe with you so you can make some too because it's amazing. I'm also going to be organizing my pantry. I've seen a lot of people doing that lately. It's that time of year, I think, with the first of a new year, you kind of want to get things in order. I'm going to dehydrate some garlic, and it's more potent and amazing if you're a garlic lover. And then the last thing, you gotta have dessert. Popcorn balls with M&Ms. Always chocolate with me, so come along, let's have a good day. Make some bread today. I'm going to make my famous white sandwich bread. It doesn't use any wheat flour because wheat flour doesn't always agree with me. It starts with one cup of water, a couple tablespoons extra. I found that works a little bit better. Then I'm going to add to that 1/4 cup of avocado. Sorry, I suck at voiceover. So 1/4 cup of avocado oil because it can stand the heat of being baked in the bread. And I heat it into the microwave for about a minute 30. Gotta kind of watch, it depends. That goes into my bread machine first. Then I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of sugar, a teaspoon of salt, and I'm using Redmond sea salt, not an endorsement. It's just that it has a lot of great minerals and it's a great sea salt, a natural real salt. To that, we will add the flour, which I'm going to now add bread flour, and I'll use 2.5 cups of bread flour. I scoop it, and I'm using the back of a teaspoon, but oh well, to level it off because you don't want to put too much flour in. It'll make it all gummy and it's not good. So 2.5 cups of bread flour. Now time to add in the 1 cup of all-purpose flour. You can skip the bread flour and just use all-purpose flour for all the flour. So you would have 3.5 cups of all-purpose flour. But I've just found it doesn't rise as well and it doesn't have quite the same crumb. So bread flour just adds a bit more to it. And then I just added 1 tablespoon of yeast. Now I'm going to set my bread machine to the dough cycle, which my dough cycle on my machine is 90 seconds. Nope, 90 minutes. So that gives me time to go do something else. Once the bread's done in the machine, I'm going to remove it and shape it into 2 loaves. These are a little bit smaller than a regular loaf pan. I've tried to find more because they're so old, but to find ones that size, it's been a real challenge, and I have not been able to find any this size. They're like 4 by 7. So they're smaller than regular loaf, but bigger than quote-unquote mini loaves, which are more like what would be used for quick breads and like desserty loaves. So, and I love this size. It's perfect size for not making it just too big of a sandwich like regular bread can be, regular loaf size. And if I ever find another one, I'm going to be so excited. It bakes, well, I'm not baking it right now. Now it's going to go for another rise because it rose in the machine. And you want to rise till it's about double, which it can take anywhere from an hour to 2 hours, depending on the temperature of your room. Now I'm baking it at 350, and it bakes for about 15 minutes. I usually do 8 minutes, and then I rotate it, and then do another 7 minutes. And you can see now that it's finished, and oh my gosh, I wish you could smell it because it's amazing. Now I'm going to brush it all with butter. And I don't use silicone brushes. I just found that they don't work as well. These natural brushes like this actually seem to hold the butter better, so it's less likely to slide off the bread and onto the counter. And it brushes on easier. So I highly encourage you to use a natural brush, besides the fact that it's natural and it's better for you. But it just, to me, having used silicone brushes compared to this brush, these brushes work so much better. And honestly, they're just as easy to clean. I mean, I run it under very hot water and like kind of spread the bristles to clean it and let it air dry, and it's perfectly fine. So once it's buttered, it will cool in the pan for about 15 minutes. I remove it out of the pan and let it cool on a wire rack for about 20-25 minutes. Then you can put it into the Ziploc bag when it's completely cool and put it in a cupboard or a bread box. Or they, in another Ziploc bag, they freeze beautifully in a freezer and will keep, 3 or 4 months if they last that long if you don't eat them. And then if you want to, you just take them out the night before, and the next day you can have fresh bread for breakfast or for sandwiches or whatever. So they are really, it's a really nice, durable, amazing. And the other bonus is they don't take eggs. So that's always a good thing right now where the price of eggs are a little bit higher. You don't have to use one on your bread. I'm going to have some toast, which is one of my favorite breakfasts. You can see the nice crumb on it. And I usually have it with, I'm going to have some lemon glazed tea, which it tastes just like a lemon cookie or lemon bars if you like those. I've fermented some honey with lemon, and I'm going to add that to the tea. Some of my favorite YouTubers that I watch have done that, they've done the fermenting of honey with lemon, and it is really amazing. Plus, it's full of a lot of nutrients and wonderful probiotics from the honey, and it has great flavor too if you like lemon. So, but I'm going to have some toast with real butter because I don't believe in fake butter. Julia Child always said that life's too short for fake cheese, fake butter, and fake people. So that's something I totally believe. So, and butter, oh my gosh, who can beat the flavor of butter? And have that with the toast. It's just delicious, absolutely amazing, and a great way to start your day. I mean, I know some people are not bread people, but that's not me. I'm a bread person. Nothing beats fresh bread. Fresh homemade bread. Time to work on this pantry. So we kind of joked that that's my apocalypse cupboard because it's where I store extra stuff. And then these are our regular pantry, and it's not very well organized. I don't even really know what I have. Don't even know, duplicates or whatever. If anything's expired. So it's just time to take it all out and see if we can't clean it all up and make it work better. That's just the thing too, with so much of the stuff in there, I don't even know what I have. And I don't even know how much I have of something, which was interesting because then I would be looking for something like, oh, we don't have that, I need to add it to my grocery list. And I discovered we already had a lot of the stuff that I thought we needed to add to our grocery list. So this hopefully will also save me some money because I won't be buying stuff I don't need. I like trying to keep things and store things as much as possible in glass because I think that a lot of the plastics and stuff bleed into our foods and create other toxins, and plus I think glass looks really pretty. Granted, it will make the cupboards a little bit heavy, but hopefully you've got good quality cupboards. But I think it keeps them stored fresher, longer, and honestly, I think it looks better. Plus, a lot of times when I've used up a jar, if we clean it, we can reuse it, and then it's a good form of recycling, which I also enjoy doing. I like to reuse jars or boxes or bags however I can, just because it saves money, and a lot of times to me it seems wasteful to just throw it away if it's a perfectly good box or jar or bag and be able to reuse it again for something else. It was also nice to get the cupboards all wiped down and cleaned out because, to be honest, it hasn't been done since we moved in like almost 2 years ago. Because honestly, who wipes down their cupboards when they have food in there unless you have a spill? I did get some tap lights so that I could see into the corners of the cupboards, which honestly, it's just kind of fun to play with them. I just want to turn them on and off. It's like a giant fidget for an adult. But see how deep the cupboards go around the corner of the other cupboard, or like where the microwave is, because of the layout of the kitchen. So it is a real challenge to see what's in there. But having that light helps you to see a little bit better. So I've added one to each of the cupboards. Granted, to get to the top cutter, I stand up on the countertop so that I can get up there to reach things because I'm kind of short. But at least now it makes it a little bit easier to see what's what because I have the lights in there. Time to dehydrate some garlic. We had bought a dehydrator a while ago, but I've been a little slow to pull the trigger to use it because it's something I'm not familiar with. It's something new, and I was nervous about, maybe setting the house on fire or ruining the food that I spent money on to try and dry and prepare. So, and new things always make me a little nervous, even if it's something I'm eager to do, because you just don't know what to expect because it's new. But I heard a quote recently, and I thought it was an awesome quote, that when you're doing something new, everybody's a beginner. And when you're doing something new, everybody makes mistakes. And therefore you practice so that it becomes easier and it's, in a sense, not new anymore. So it's a learning process. We bought this bag of garlic at BJ's, and I forget how big the bag is. It was like $5 or $6. And then I opened it up and emptied it out, and I picked out some of the garlic that had maybe started to turn and was kind of icky or slimy. And I'm just cutting the ends off the place where it was attached to the bulb. And if they're large, I'll sliver them a little bit thinner because they're going to go in the dehydrator for a while until they dry out. And it turned out so successful. I made some for a friend, and now I told my husband the other day, I said, I think we should go buy 2 or 3 more bags because we have a vacuum sealer, and we'll just vacuum seal a bunch of garlic so we have some in the future. I know people like to grow garlic, but if I have a vacuum sealed, I'll have some for a while. Although growing it wouldn't be bad either because then I can just dehydrate and vacuum seal my own garlic. So who knows, maybe I'll have to plant some garlic. A little bit tedious to go through and do all the garlic. I will say the bag, which I think maybe it was a 1 or 2 pound bag of garlic, it did take me about an hour to sit there and slice all of it. So if you're not a patient person, you're not into slow living, you're not into being in the moment, it could seem like it's a little time consuming. but the payoff is amazing once you have it all dehydrated and have it in a jar so that you can just sprinkle some in your soup or in a pasta or any kind of dish that calls for garlic. So much more pungent and potent and savory and flavorful than what you can buy in a jar, because who knows how long ago they actually, made that, or what they've done in the process for it. So this is about as fresh as you can get. I think the only way it would have been better is if I'd went and pulled it from my garden and then dehydrated it and used it. So yeah, the more I consider the idea, I think I'm going to have to plant myself some garlic so I can use it in the future. Once it was dehydrated, I went ahead and sent it through a blender to chop it up finer, and then I put it back on silicone mats into the dehydrator to dehydrate further because I wanted it to be good and dry. We also have these little packets that are food safe that you can add in there to help keep things dry. So we can put it in, like if we're doing our resealable bag, or not resealable, but our dry seal bags, vacuum seal, or like this, I put some in the jar to keep the garlic fresh and dry. And there I have it, my wonderful minced dried garlic. Making the popcorn balls. You can use like 2 or 3 bags of microwave popcorn to get your popcorn, but I don't really care for that because number one, I can't control how much butter and salt is in a bag of microwave popcorn like I can if I'm making it myself. And I, quite honestly, don't really trust microwave popcorn, and like whatever chemicals stuff that is in there just kind of gives me the heebie-jeebies. So I like to do things as naturally as possible, where I have more control of what is actually in the food I'm eating. So my husband a long time ago got me this air fryer. There's something so satisfying about watching the popcorn fall out of that air fryer into a big bowl. I know it seems kind of silly, but I don't know, there's something about it. I love it. And I love being able to add as much butter as I want, as much salt as I want. So yep, now it's ready. I went through it and picked out all the little unpopped kernels. Back in my day, I'll date myself, we called them old maids. And now I'm getting ready to make the marshmallowy stuff. It uses 1/3 cup of butter, and I wanted to make sure I had between 7 and 8 cups of popped popcorn. Quite honestly, I don't know. I didn't measure the popcorn. The big bowl looked good enough to me. So, but I did measure the butter. It's 1/3 cup of butter in my skillet. And when it melts down and gets more liquefied, I'll add in the whole bag of mini marshmallows. And I also add a teaspoon of salt. It may have been added to the popcorn before I put it in the bowl. I honestly don't remember when I added the salt, but it's probably easier to add it to the popcorn before adding it to the actual bowl. And I did not use unsalted butter. I always use full, raw, regular butter. I know all the rage is, oh, you need to use unsalted because salted has too much salt, and you need to use unsalted so you can control how much salt is in it. And quite honestly, I figured it out one day for kicks and giggles how much salt is actually in a pound of butter and like your stick of butter. And it's negligible how much is honestly in there that affects like our chemistry in our body for salt, but what it does affect is the taste. So
almost there.
What's in there isn't really a large enough amount to make one difference one way or the other as far as your sodium intake, but it certainly adds the flavor. And I mean, hey, it's your thing. If you want to do unsalted, be my guest. You know, you do you, and I'm going to have mine with salt because I like salt. So once it's all melted down and smooth, now I'm going to add the popcorn and stir it in. And it gets kind of goopy and it's kind of tricky, but you do the best you can. You don't want to do it too difficult. You know, you don't want to really mush it down because you don't want to break all your kernels. But you do want to get all of them coated as evenly as possible. So a spatula works real well, just kind of stirring it around and mixing it as best you can. It still should be a little bit, for me anyway, I like a nice marshmallowy, almost like chewy type of popcorn ball. So I don't like mine hard and crunchy. I know some people do, but that's not what this one is. This one is nice and ooey gooey chewy. So it will take a bit to stir up and get everything coated. Also, you want to cool down the popcorn a bit before you add the M&Ms, because otherwise they just melt. And then they don't stay M&Ms. It doesn't look as pretty. It's messy to put together when it's already going to be messy from the marshmallow. But you want your M&Ms to stay an M&M, dang it. So you don't want to get it put them in there too warm. It says a half a pound of M&Ms, and quite honestly, I don't know how much I added. I just added what my heart wanted, and my heart said lots of M&Ms, yes please. So I guess there was a few left over, which is unusual for me, but there you go. And now you'll gently stir those in as well. And I think I start out with this one spray where it's basically emulsified type of avocado oil that I have, but I found that the avocado cooking oil actually worked better. Sorry that I'm doing the voiceover and you hear helicopters, because I'm sitting outside of my patio as I do this, because that's just the way it is. It's a beautiful day and I wanted to be outside and record out here, so you're gonna get some funky background noises. Might even hear birds and stuff. So there you go. That's real life. That's how it goes. But yeah, I'm shaping the popcorn balls. Now is the time when you want to smush them, because you want to get them as firm and put together as possible. I've also found that as I make them, I tend to spray my hands with cooking spray in between each popcorn ball to make sure that they stay good and slick, so the popcorn won't build up and stick on my hands, and that can get kind of messy. It'll make anywhere from 9 to 12 popcorn balls. It also depends on the size you want to make. So I like mine good size, about the size of a baseball, a little bit bigger than a tennis ball, but you can make yours whatever size you want. I just like mine to be a good size because I like popcorn balls. And I really only make them about once or twice a year. A lot of times I will make them in the fall at Halloween time and make them with the Halloween M&Ms, because it's just kind of fun. And it's just, for some reason, fall just is popcorn balls to me. But for whatever reason, I was craving them now. Probably because I didn't make them this fall. Yikes. There we go. Come on. Oh, I was going to turn it off and I forgot. But the cooking spray definitely works better. Yep, so you see there I got 9 popcorn balls out of it. So, like I said, if I'd made them smaller, you could have gotten more out of it. So it really depends on the size you want to make. And now it's time to enjoy my fruits of my labor and have a popcorn ball. I'm sitting down with Our State magazine from North Carolina. I love this magazine. They're not paying me to say this, but I do. I love the magazine, especially not being from North Carolina. It was awesome to get the magazine and start seeing what's in the state, what's been made in the state, what you can buy, shop, visit, eat, tour in the state. It's really cool to see all the different aspects and places. It just makes my list longer and longer of places I want to go visit in North Carolina. Yeah. I love the state so much. I wish I could say I was born here, but I was actually born in Texas and lived most of my life in Nebraska. And then we moved down here to North Carolina during 2020, and it's been such a blessing. It's just like, this is where we belong, and we absolutely love it. Love where we live, love the state, and it's a little slice of heaven on earth for us. The popcorn ball turned out so amazing. It was because of the salt, which it's up to you. If you want yours less salty, instead of using a full teaspoon of salt, you could use a half a teaspoon. So to me, I got more of that sweet, salty, chocolatey mix, almost like you would with a chocolate-covered pretzel. So just something to think about. If you don't like salt mixed with your chocolate and sweet, and you like yours less salty, then cut back on the salt. Instead of having a full teaspoon of salt, maybe use a half a teaspoon of salt. But I love sweet and salty together, especially chocolate sweet and salty. But then I like chocolate with most anything, so there you go. Well, thank you for joining me today and coming to visit. I so appreciated it, and so hope you enjoyed it as well. And I hope you'll come back and see me again another time, the next video. And have a wonderful day, friend.